Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Juan Hermosillo, and today we are going to be looking at Erikson's psychosocial development and social emotional learning. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, Erikson's stages of development. So, Erikson, right, for his theory of development, what he wanted to focus on was how a person develops, throughout their lifespan, right? As opposed to Freud, who had only looked, at younger ages, right? Erikson wanted to look at a person's whole life and how they continue to develop as they age. And so what he believed is that there were 8 stages, right? And in each stage, there was a conflict that would come up, because of differences that occur between an individual and the needs of society. And so, right, each stage that was completed, right, successfully, Erikson believed that this would result in a healthy personality, right? And so, as we see, right, there's plenty of room for growth for one's personality, like throughout the lifetime, right? There's 8 stages. So, first up, is trust versus mistrust, which is from 0 to 18 months, and this is where a child's kind of worldview is kind of shaped a little bit, right? It really comes down to their caregiver and the kind of care that they receive as a infant, and if they get positive care and they're cared for, then they'll develop a trusting view of the world, whereas the mistrust will come into play if they have a negative experience with their caregiver where they're neglected or they're just not paid attention to or given the care that a infant needs. Then they'll develop a distrust or mistrustful view of the world, right? And so moving along for 18 months to 3 years is autonomy versus shame. And here's where, kids learn to do things on their own, right? A perfect example is, kids dressing themselves. And a lot of the time the outfits aren't the hottest, right? So this is where the shame comes into play. They if they are punished for putting together these wacky outfits, say, then they're gonna be less confident in expressing themselves and kind of be more feel shameful about it, right? And so moving on to initiative versus guilt, which is 3 years to 6 years old. So here, kids start attending school, they're developing their social skills, they're interacting with their peers, all that great stuff, and they're developing a sense of purpose of who they really are. It's barely it's starting to form. Its little seeds are there. So if they're not able to fully develop this kind of sense of purpose or who they are, then they kind of develop these like accomplishing tasks just does not there's no motivation to accomplish them, if that makes sense. And so for industry versus inferiority, right, which is from 6 years to 12 years, these students are a little older and they're able to rely on their teacher as a tool for validation, and to kind of make them feel confident in the classroom to, you know, you name it, give an answer, or just kind of be themselves. Um, and if they don't receive, adequate support from that teacher or adequate validation, then they might feel a little bit inferior, right? A little bit, you know, insecure, we could say. And then moving along to the fifth stage of identity versus role confusion. And here we're looking at 12 to 18 year olds, right? So kind of like middle to high school. And so here, they're, I'm sure we all know, right? We all go through phases in our middle school and, high school years. We'll, look back at pictures, it's like, oh God, like, it's just in this stage, students are looking for identity, right? They're trying to figure out, who am I? What am I gonna, what am I going to do? So it's just a search for identity, really. And if it doesn't go so well, right, then that's where the role confusion comes into play. And you might see, students become a little bit more rebellious as they're confused. They don't know exactly what it is that they want. So moving along to intimacy versus isolation, which is a lot longer range here, from 19 years to 40 years, and really it's essentially making those intimate connections, right? Getting out there, dating and building a bond with a partner and kind of someone that you can rely on, and all that great stuff that comes with relationships. But a failure to make these connections is where the isolation part comes into play, and here someone's unable to find that connection, then they might begin to feel isolated, which can in turn lead to feelings of depression or kind of feeling lonely, and those kind of feelings. And so moving along to our next stage of 40 years to 65 years, we've got generativity versus stagnation, right? And so here, right, at this point in a person's life, right, Erikson believed that you're kind of looking for ways to become a tool, right, for others, or just to be productive, I guess you could say, right, and kind of passing down the knowledge or the torch, right, of what you've learned. And the stagnation will come into play if you feel unable to do that, where you feel as if your life has been unproductive and you don't have that kind of like torch, right, that to pass down, or that kind of wisdom. And moving along to integrity versus despair, which is the final stage, and it spans from 65 years to death. And here is essentially just kind of reflection of life, of the wisdom that you've acquired, the knowledge that you've acquired, and just looking back at it and kind of, looking at if the goals that you've had and if you've accomplished them. But if they don't get accomplished, then despair, right? if you begin to feel that there were goals that got left behind, didn't get accomplished, then there becomes a dissatisfaction with one's life, and kind of not the happiest memories when you look back at your life, right? So sort of the despair comes into play. Now moving along into social emotional learning. So, right, what this type of learning does is it, quite simply, it focuses on the development and application of, you guessed it, social and emotional skills. Crazy, right? So what that really means is, it goes beyond what students learn in a classroom, right? I mean, when you think of a student in a classroom, you think, they're learning math, science, all that good stuff. Or maybe it's not good stuff. Not always. It's not always fun, but you get my point, right? So social emotional learning, teaching these kids or these students, right, kind of life skills, right? Skills that they can carry with them for the rest of their lives. And so what these skills are really doing for them is it's enhancing their abilities to build relationships and to deal with their feelings, right? Because I mean, I can't think of a single person that is born, able to deal with, their emotions, or kind of understand how social interactions work, or how to build these relationships, right? They're all learned, or they're all taught. And so with that said, right, the focus of social emotional learning is to develop these students' emotional intelligence, right? So that they can go out and do these things and, have healthy interactions. And so next point is actually that this social emotional learning promotes these healthier social interactions. And in turn, right, you may find that you need to discipline students less because they're able to interact in a more positive way without, things going haywire. And so, as we said, right, these skills apply for the rest of their lives. This carries into adulthood, right? Being emotionally intelligent isn't something that just is applicable in grade school. It can carry on for the rest of your life. And so, the 5 key areas here are responsible decision making, relationship skills, social awareness, social management, and self-awareness, right? And truly, I mean, they speak for themselves, right? Responsible decision making. You want to be able to think rationally and, kind of get to the proper decision, you know, emotional intelligence coming into play here. And so relationship skills, right? Getting out there, understanding, how to build those relationships, what it takes to maintain them. And so social awareness, same thing, understanding kind of like the norms of, what's going on, self management and self awareness. All right, kind of hand in hand. Self management, right? Kind of introspection, I guess you could call it, right? Understanding, you know, how you're feeling and how it's going to affect you, right? And then self awareness is just that awareness of how you're feeling, right? In order to self manage. And that brings us to the end of our presentation. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys learned about a little bit about Erikson, a little bit about social emotional learning, and hopefully you guys are able to apply it to your schools or your lives, right? So thank you guys. Take care.